And my last video for the day because my throat is hurting. Um, the way I would do Jocelyn's character, I would have started from the whole story from when she got adopted and how she was in an orphanage. This is what I would have done very differently. Her mama would have been a crackhead. Her mama would have been an international drug lord. So let me break down how I would have done this. I would have done it where Jocelyn was stolen at birth by her parents, and her parents just happened to be Natasha's sisters and her husband's child, and they have been looking for her, and she was switched at birth and stolen, and they found out years later that child was not their child, and now they're looking for her, and it just so happens she ends up with Natasha and Chico. And when Natasha meets her a lot earlier than now, well, she meets her now and says she looks so much like her sister. And so when she starts talking about her life and where she was born and the hospital, it hits her. Her sister's child was born in that same hospital. She looks at her age, she looks at everything. So she decides to, because you know if they're family, DNA is DNA. So she decides to do a DNA test and she finds that is her sister's child. And so we see how in the beginning of her situation, how she survives in foster care, everything that she went through, all the stuff she had to deal with. And then we see her, getting and dating Chico, which in turn, Chico, the guy, whoever she was dating in the skits, and she ends up meeting Chico, and then she ends up doing business with Chico. And then the situation between her and the other girl and how that happened. That could be a whole skit by itself. And then the fact of her moving to Atlanta and how she got to Atlanta, how she met, Jazz, and how Jazz and them took her in as family. We see the whole thing. And then we get into how she becomes, like Ghost, a powerful female in the game. How she had to worry about men respecting her in the game, so on and so forth. And there were other men before Ty and Ralphie that she dated. So me personally, I would make this into a female version of Ghost. Because this is exactly what that is. And then having somebody that's like one of her homegirls that and is a bunch of girls, bunch of females, and they out here just running the game, and there's a bunch of females that she basically associate with that's running the game in different areas that we find out that she has people in Miami and California, New York, places like that throughout her time that are also in the game that she has connections with as well. So we need to bring some people from her past, like maybe one of her homegirls from New York, homegirl from this, and we find out that there's a whole thing that they're all in different places based on Chico putting them in different places. But they're all female. And they're all dating someone in the game. But they also have their own businesses doing their own thing. But their men are doing well. You can have one that's husband's in jail right now for something he didn't do. Another one, her husband, even though he's in the game, they have a bunch of construction properties, things like that. You can have another one of her and her man, you know what I'm saying? She's a fashion designer and he's basically now doing movies like they did Chase's cousin. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Because you can take Chase's cousin, the one that's doing the movies, pull him over there. Pull him over there. So all the drug cartel stuff, anything with drug stuff, separate that from this. Separate it. They need to be separated. So I just wanted to. So another example with D, it would be nice to see from the beginning how the situation with Dom, because you can separate that and somehow have her connected to Dom. So you can rewrite that whole entire skit with her, because you can change that whole entire narrative. So the one thing about writing, you can always veer something off to something different. But we already know who Jocelyn is. We already know who Dom is. We already know his, you know what I'm saying? We need that story. So it would be great to show these different stories in one skit. Those you can do. Because then we can show how Ty and how he got where he is, who his daddy is, so on and so forth. The same way you got power and there's different power series, Wayne, you can do the same thing. Turn these into different skits. Don't put them on the same skit because now it's confusing. Separate them. If you have Mike, Amber, all of them, that's fine. James and all. Matter of fact, throw James and Melissa over there. Throw them over there. Because you can take that and turn that into something. We all know who these characters are. Now you can basically say, let's scrap this. Let's take these characters and let's do the backstory on all of them. And we can give James and Melissa and all of them, they series, Dee and Jocelyn and Frank and Ty, and give them all their own power series. It would be interesting. And then bringing them together. So now that we have the characters, why not just venture them off? But you can still keep the chase and all of that the same. That's more soap opera. This is more gangster. This is more power. Power versus soap opera here. So we got power on this hand, and we got soap operas here. No, separate them, Wayne. Separate them. Because like I said, I got a story for Jocelyn's character. I got a story for Ty and them character. Because Ty and them character, we're going to find out that mama, Frank, I want the story of how they got with Francisco. I got a whole story for that. I got a whole story for Frank. And a whole story for Chase cousin. And how they all connect. And all of them gonna connect through Jocelyn. So now we can basically see how many places she's been. Because with all these characters, we can show her going over there and meeting, and then getting and meeting Frank and them, and then meeting so on and so forth. How she got to where she's at. And she a queen pin. I got a story for them. As for Anthony and Amber, it would have been a dope story. I hate they went that way. I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, somebody asked me. Matter of fact, I have something similar to what Wayne is doing. I got 6 girls, 6 friends, and all of them have different stories. And I'm going to show them together and then venture them off because they all have different stories. One is their mama's on drugs and she a drug addict. The other one, she's being abused by her mother because the hatred of her baby daddy and the fact that he abandoned her. And she's also being molested. We have another one whose parents always put these high expectations on her and always want her to be Miss Goody Two-Shoes, but yes, she ain't. You got the one whose mom is always bringing different men in and out the house, and she's basically not paying her daughter no attention. And the other little girl whose parents got money, and she's always got to live her life a certain way. And then the 6th little girl is the one that is the unattractive one that no guy wants to date, and she can't lose weight. So there's 6 different girls that represent every single woman that there is and things we've been through. And they all come together and they meet from when they're little, and we show them growing up, how they grew up, how some things happened while they were in college, and they went their separate ways, and then bringing them back together because 2 of the kids are getting married. So 2 of their kids are getting married. So they want all of them to come together, so that they decide to bring them all together so they can deal with their issues. So it's it's going to be interesting. Can't wait to write it. I'm really excited about writing it. But I mean, writing fiction is something I got to learn how to do. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I'm hoping to turn it into a series because it's going to show recovery, and it's a recovery type of book, but it's going to be a more fictional book. But it just shows every side of a woman and all different women and how we all deal with things differently because of our circumstances. Whether it be you live and you have money, the middle class, lower class, drug addicts, just how differently we're raised, how differently as far as our environments and the people we encounter. So I'm excited to write it. So that's just my thoughts on that.